In today's video, we'll create a stunning developer portfolio app using Bolt.new and Expo. This app will work seamlessly on Android, iOS, and the web. We'll also cover how to deploy it to their respective platforms: the Play Store for Android, the App Store for iOS, and the web using EAS hosting. Oh, and I almost forgot, we won't be writing any code. That's because Bolt.new is an AI-powered web development agent that lets you prompt, run, and edit Expo applications directly from your browser. No local setup required. On top of that, deploying our application will be handled by EAS. For those who don't know, Expo Application Services provides deeply integrated cloud services for Expo and React Native. With EAS, we can build our native applications in the cloud, meaning you don't need a Mac to deploy your iOS application. Everything happens in the cloud. EAS also takes care of signing bills and managing certificates required by the app stores, so we don't have to worry about that. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Here I have a demo of what we're going to be doing today, guys. So this is my portfolio that I created using Bolt.new and Expo. And as you can see here, we have the web version. And on the right, I have my iPhone, as you can see, and I have this application, Beto Portfolio. And if I open this app, it's going to load and fetch data from my GitHub and bring my stats, bring my dashboard, my social networks. And yeah, this is how it looks. So this is the native app. Here I have the website. And this application actually was distributed using TestFlight. So if I open TestFlight, as you can see, the first app or the latest app that I was testing is going to be Beto Portfolio, which is this application. And this application was delivered to TestFlight using EAS. I didn't have to code anything. Everything was handled by Bolt.new. And also for deploying, everything was handled by EAS. Now that said, if you want to deploy today's application, you're gonna need to have an Expo account, a Google Play account, and an Apple developer account. So for a Google Play account, you need to pay $25, and for an Apple developer account, you need to pay $100 per year. This is optional, of course, if you want to deploy your application to the stores. For deploying to the web, you don't need anything, so maybe you want to start with the web and then you can upgrade to the Google and Apple Play stores. Alrighty guys, so at this point, I think we're ready to start creating our new application. And for this, I'm gonna go to Bolt.new and then I'm gonna be using the Expo starter template. I'm gonna leave the link in the description so that you can start with me. So this is what we see when we go to Bolt.new using the Expo starter template. And what we can do actually is just start typing here stuff like, hey, do something, right? But one feature that I really like is that you can also press this enhance prompt button that is going to use AI to improve your prompt so that the AI, creates a better application. So for these, I'm gonna be trying to replicate the one that I already have deployed, right? So I'm going to paste this prompt and let's just quickly analyze it. It's actually fairly large, and I'm just telling the agent that I want to create a professional portfolio app using Expo with the following requirements. I want my application to be modern, visually striking mobile application that showcases my personal profile with these specific features. So I want a dashboard, right? I want to show numbers to the people that is going to be watching my portfolio. So I thought we could use the GitHub API since it's a free API with limits, I think. So I told the AI, fetch and display real-time GitHub metrics for Beto, which is my handle for GitHub. I want the count for total repos, followers, and top 3 repos by stars. I'm going to delete the 3, so I want the top repos by stars. So from my GitHub, I'm going to bring as well my avatar image, and then I'm asking percent metrics using animated counters and modern data visualization components. So this was actually created by the AI. I'm going to delete that because I think it's not going to be needed since it's not going to be increasing the numbers in real time, right? So I'm asking as well to have a loading state, and then we jump to the layout and design. So we're going to have a hero section featuring, my name, my role, which is developer success engineer at Expo, professional headshot, and then I'm just asking for a good design showing the metrics. Now down here, I'm specifying a couple things about the GitHub REST API. Since it's a free API and all that, we don't need to have authentication. So I don't want to, confuse the agent by having to integrate an API token and things like that. So I'm just specifically asking, use the free unauthenticated GitHub REST API. Fit all that in one screen. I'm gonna say home screen. And let's go ahead and hit enter and see what happens. So let me scroll down here. This is my huge prompt. And as you notice, the agent, it's actually coding my application, so I don't need to do anything. And it's using TypeScript, which is amazing. This means that we're going to have autocomplete when we're accessing the data. We can see that we have a type for the GitHub stats, a type for the repo, and I can see exactly what the agent is doing right now. So it created a tabs with a layout. So on the right, we have these tabs. And then I can, start pressing and see that I only have one screen, which is what I asked for. This is the home screen, and it's adding an icon, which is okay. Let's see the GitHub stats. That's done. It's defining some types. It's, having some fairly complicated state with a fetch function that is fetching from the users. Oh, and it's done. That was quick. Let's see. Dang, I like this better. Wow. I think these icons are, beautiful. I think they are better because they show actually my username, which is really nice. So it's not using the butterfly for blue sky, but I'll give it that. That's okay. But it has this really nice, shadow on my hero section with my profile, and it's actually bringing my repos in the follower count. But one issue that I noticed is that these repos are not the popular ones, right? Are not sorted by stars. These I created these repos, and actually they are valid. By the way, another thing is that these are not links. It looks like, so I cannot click on this. It's just displaying the info. So we can create a follow-up question. But I just wanna, tell you that I'm super excited about this because this looks amazing. And at this point, I could take this and deploy it right now. But we can actually play around with the code in here, or we can just ask the agent to make updates. Let's follow up with the agent. I'm gonna say, this looks amazing. First of all, thank you. Some things to fix. So first of all, I'm gonna say repos are not sorted by number of stars. The ones I see on screen have 0 stars. So that's one thing that I want to fix. Another thing is that I want these cards to be clickable. So I'm gonna say create a modal screen to show more details when a user clicks on a repo card. Let's see the one that I created before. So we have the total stars. Maybe I can ask for that as a follow-up. Okay, I think this should be enough. Let's send this. Okay, so it's fixing the GitHub fetching data stuff. Okay, no, it also created the repo details screen, which is going to get parameters from the route, and then it's going to display this data in here. Cool, this is looking good. Let's see the preview. Now I can see actually my popular repos, but the design is kind of broken at this point. But it's showing the total stars, right? Which is really cool. Let's click on one of these, and it's taking me to the modal screen. All right, this is amazing. This is actually showing very useful information, and I can click on view on GitHub, and it's going to actually bring me to the correct repo. I guess the only issue is that the UI is kind of broken right now, but I'm super happy with the result. So I'm going to give it a final prompt and see if we can kind of fix the UI so that we can now deploy the application. Okay, so I have here a simple prompt, and actually, I have a couple typos. I'm going to press on the enhance prompt, and this is going to fix my prompt so that I can send it to the agent. And now it's saying create a clear and organized display of the repos using a responsive grid layout with multiple columns. Each repo should be represented in a well-structured card format with repository name, text, truncated or cropping, visual hierarchy. So this is, very nice. I would have never been able to write this. So once I have this really cool prompt, I'm going to send it and see what the agent comes up with. Okay, so this is how it looks so far. Now we have a button to view details, and it's taking me here. We can go back and see my popular repos, which look very well. Okay, and at this point, I'm happy with the result, and I think we're ready to deploy this. So at the moment, we are not able to deploy directly from Bolt, but we're actually working with Bolt.new, and hopefully in the future we can do it. So on the top right, you can see this export, and I'm going to click on download to download my project. So this one has a name project 2. We can actually rename this to be portfolio video, for example. And then I'm going to open this in VS Code. Okay, so here I have my project open in VS Code. So right now what I want to do is just open my terminal, and I'm going to install dependencies. So we can do that by running npm install in this terminal inside my project. this is going to generate this node module folder that is going to contain the dependencies that we are using for this project. That's ready. And we can actually do a quick test and make more updates in here. We can see that this is working just by saying npx expo start. This is going to start the expo server. By the way, I can see right away that I have some dependencies that we need to fix, and we are going to do that in a moment. But right now, what I want to do is just take my iPhone, and as you notice, I have Expo Go, which is this application at the very top, and you can download it from the App Store. Just search for Expo Go, or Play Store if you're using Android. So once you have Expo Go, you can just go ahead and open the camera app, and then scan this QR code and open in Expo Go. So this is going to start running this application directly into my iPhone, and I can see how all the data is loading on my real device, and I can see that everything is looking fine. And let's see how the navigation works natively. So if I view details for each project, this is actually using a stack view that is, taking me to the specific stack. And it looks amazing, right? This is a native application, which also has animations. If you notice, when I press, we have this little animation, and looks beautiful. So if you want to make some tweaks before we ship this, you can do it in here. So for example, let's quickly go to the layout, and I'm going to duplicate this stack screen. I'm going to use the repo details screen, which is this one that we have in here. And I want to set some options. So I'm going to say options, presentation, and I'm going to set the presentation to be modal. So if I hit save, I don't need to do anything on the right. Actually, it reloads automatically. So now if I come here and press in one repo, the presentation of the screen is going to be a modal screen, which I think it looks better. And this is how it looks for each repo. We can now just go ahead and try to fix these dependencies that we can see here. To fix those dependencies, we can actually run npx expo-doctor, which is a package that is going to let me know what's wrong with my project. So in this case, we have some incompatible dependencies with the version of the SDK that we're using. So in this case, it's just a little warning that is telling me that, oh, there are two new versions of Expo Go. And we can actually fix them super quickly by saying npx expo install and then passing the flag fix. So I'm going to hit enter. This is going to detect these dependencies, and then it's going to fix them. Okay, and that's done. Now, if I say npx expo-doctor and run this command, you can see that now my project is ready. Cool, so now we're ready to deploy it. So we're gonna be using Expo Application Services to deploy this project, and EAS provides a CLI tool that allows us to deploy this application completely through the terminal. So let's go ahead and install this CLI. We can do that by running npm install, and then I want to install this package globally, so I'm going to pass the flag G, EAS CLI. Now at this point, we're going to need your Expo account, so make sure that you have that ready. Once this is installed, we can now run commands using EAS. For example, I can say EAS login to log in into my account. So right now it's telling me, oh, you are already logged in as Beto at Expo, which is my account. In this case, I'm going to quit this. In this case, you need to, enter your email, password, and authenticate. Once you have authenticated using the CLI, we can initialize a new project. So I'm going to clear the terminal, and I'm going to say EAS init. This is going to initialize a project, and it's going to ask me which account do you want to use. I'm going to use Beto at Expo. And then this is asking me, do you want to create a Bolt Expo native Win project? So in this case, actually, I'm going to cancel this by pressing Ctrl+C. And this is a good point to tell you that before we ship this, it's a good idea to change the name of the project. All this configuration for your Expo app is going to be inside the app.json file that you can see here. I'm going to call my app Beto FYI, and then the slug has to be a unique identifier actually, and you won't be able to change this slug. This unique identifier needs to be within your Expo organization, so make sure that this is unique. So I'm gonna say in this case, Beto FYI, I recommend that you use lowercase and instead of spaces, use dash. So this is how it looks. Also, if you want, you can right now add an icon for your application. So the icon, you can just simply replace this assets icon that comes by default with the application. At this time, I'm not gonna be doing this because I don't have an icon right now, but you can replace this and you should be fine. Let's open the terminal again, and I'm going to say EAS init. I'm going to select my account, And now at this time it's asking me, do you want to create Beto FYI? I'm gonna say yes. And this command actually created a new project. So if I go to expo.dev, you're going to see that in my projects, now I can see Beto FYI. So this is my project and it's configured with this specific project right now. Now, EAS provides many services. In this case, we're going to be using EAS build as well as EAS hosting for hosting the web application. So we need to configure EAS. So I'm going to say EAS build :configure and hit enter. Now it's asking me, it looks like you haven't initialized a Git repo. So I'm going to let EAS do that for me. I'm going to say yes, I want to create a new repo, and then it's going to commit all these changes with the initial commit. So let's just hit enter. And then it's asking me, which platforms do you want to configure? So I want to build this for iOS and Android. If you want to just do one of them, just select the one that you want to use. Once that's done, as you can see, everything went well, and we created this EAS JSON file. It was auto-generated by the CLI, and this file contains some configuration for our application. You can learn more about this configuration in the Expo docs, by the way. So after that, we can start deploying. I'm going to start with web since I think it's the easiest one. First of all, we need to export our application for web. I'm gonna say npx expo export platform web. Let's hit enter. This is going to generate this dist folder that you can see here that is going to contain the bundle and everything that we need for web. So once that's done, as you can see, that was fairly quickly. Now I can say EAS deploy and then pass the flag prod. I want to deploy this directly to production. I'm gonna hit enter and it's going to ask me, which URL do you want to use for your application? So Expo actually provides a hosting service and it also gives you a free domain. So for my domain, I'm gonna use beto-fyi.expo.app. So I'm gonna hit enter. And this is going to start deploying my application. This is actually going to be fairly quickly and I'm not going to cut the video. And as you can see, it's done. So that means that I can just copy this link and go to my browser, paste it in here, and this is going to take me to my deployed website. This is how it looks on a desktop view. There's a couple, things that we could improve on the design, but right now I think this is great and the navigation works fine. And it's, showing data fairly quickly. I'm super excited about this. So at this point, you can start sharing this link with your friends and teammates and clients. And yeah, that's it. So now let's deploy it for iOS. If this is the first time that you are deploying an iOS application, know that you need to have an Apple developer account because we are going to need it right now. So to build this, we actually can use a pretty powerful command that is EAS build -s. This EAS build -s command, it's very powerful and we're going to see what it does step by step. First of all, let's go ahead and hit enter and select the platform iOS. So for iOS, this is actually going to start by asking me, which bundle identifier do you want to use? For those who are new to iOS development, a bundle identifier is a unique identifier for your application and usually is conformed by your company and then the domain. So in this case, Beto@expo and the name of your app, in this case, Beto FYI. So I'm just going to hit enter and that's it. So iOS app only uses standard exempt encryption. This is a classic question that Apple requires you to answer. And you have to actually do this manually previously, but now we can automate it here. So right now it only uses, the standard encryption. So I'm going to say yes or just hit enter. And then do you want to log in to your Apple developer account? So at this point, we need to log in into our Apple developer account so that EAS can have our credentials to create our application. So I'm going to just pass my email and then this is going to ask you for the password and login. Because I already had a session, it's just logging me in and then it's asking me which team do you want to use for deploying this application. So in this case, I'm going to be using Code with Beto, which is my personal team. And that's it. This is going to, start handling the credentials and the certificates for this application. So I'm just going to press enter. Right now, I already have a distribution certificate, but if this is the first time that you're creating or running this command, it's going to prompt you to create one. And you just have to select yes. So I'm just going to press enter. It's asking me, do you want to create an Apple provisional profile for this application? I'm going to say yes or just hit enter. Okay. And this is uploading the project to EAS and then has prepared also the App Store Connect. Now I have a little issue here. And this issue is actually an issue that I've been having recently, which is that the API failed to create a test group. So in this case, we can actually do this manually. So what I'm going to do now is just cancel this by pressing Ctrl C, and I'm gonna go and create this test flight group manually. So for this, I'm gonna need to go to my Apple developer account, then select my apps. And as you can see, I have now Beto FYI, and we need to click on the test flight. If you have this issue, if you don't have this issue, you don't have to do this. And I have to create this internal test group manually. So you need to call this one team parentheses expo. Let's go ahead and create this, and that's it. Now I can go back to my project and rerun this command. Select iOS, press enter to sign in, select your team, okay? So now the application is already created. Now I have the internal test group for Expo, and Expo is going to use that test group to put this application in that test group and invite all the admins in my Apple account, which is going to be me, and some friends. So I'm going to say yes here. This is going to be to reuse the App Store Connect API key. And again, guys, you just have to hit enter in this and select yes to everything, and you should be able to come to this point. And that's it, guys. At this point, the application is building in the cloud, in the EAS servers. Once the application is built, it's going to be submitted automatically by Expo to the test flight, and it's going to be added to the internal test group that we created a moment ago. And once that's ready, Apple is going to send me an email letting me know that I can start testing my application on test flight. That's it. Now we need to wait a little bit, but in the meantime, we can start the deployment for Android. So we can open a new terminal by pressing this plus. I'm going to say EAS build. In this case, I want to specify the platform, so I'm going to say -P Android. Very similar to what we did with iOS. In this case, it's asking me for the package, which is a unique identifier for this application. I'm just going to select the default by pressing enter. Generate a new key store? Yes, just press enter. Okay, and my build is in progress. But while this is in progress, we can actually go ahead and create a new application in the Play Store. So I'm gonna go to the play.google.com/console. I'm going to sign in with my developer account, and this is how it looks. So right now, I need to create a new application, and you can see a button up here that says create app, and I'm going to call this app Beto FYI. Let's select that this is an application and it's going to be a free app. I need to confirm and accept these laws and then hit on create app on the bottom right. Okay, my app is ready. So from here, we can select on the left, test and release, and then testing, internal testing. Okay, so for internal testing, we need to select testers. In this case, I already have me as tester. I'm going to select myself. This is me with my Android device, and save. Okay, let's go back to releases, create a new release. And at this point, we can add my app in here. Alrighty, guys, and after a moment, my builds are ready. So the iOS was completed and even was submitted to the App Store. So that's it. Now I also have the same results in here, and I got this email from TestFlight that is telling me, oh, Code with Beto invite you to start testing this application. So I'm just gonna press on the view in TestFlight, and I already have TestFlight installed in my phone. So it's going to open the application. Otherwise, it's going to take you to the App Store to download TestFlight, and then you can press the button again, and it's going to take you to this screen where you can just press install. And that's it. Now I can open my app, and boom. Okay, and it's loading very fast. I'm super happy with the result. I can access the screens and scroll down, access another one. Cool, and it's super quick. I can also click on the links, and it's actually taking me to my profile, which is working fine. So this is working great. And yeah, from here, I mean, the only thing that you need to do is just keep adding more testers if you want to, or just go to the App Store Connect and fill the information of your application and send it for review. Now let's deploy the Android app. So for Android, let's go to the builds here in the dashboard, and I'm going to select the Android one. So this is, again, guys, a production build, which means it's an artifact of type AAV. So let's go ahead and download this file. Okay, it is in my downloads. Now I'm gonna go to the Google Play console, and I'm going to just drag and drop my AAV file. After a moment, this should be ready to start testing. Okay, and my app is up. Now I just need to specify a release name. So I'm going to call this one video release and hit on next, an overview of the app, and then save and publish, save and publish. And boom, now this application is available for testers. So to install this on my Android device, I'm going to go to the testers section, and you can just copy the link and send this to the testers and they should be able to get it. Okay, so I have sent this link to myself and I can just click on it. Now notice that this is my Android device at this point, and it's asking me, do you want to accept this invitation? So I'm going to accept this so that I can be a tester of my own app. And then once that's done, I should be able to just press on download from the Google Play Store. So this is how it looks right now because this is an unreviewed application. Let's go ahead and press installed. And this is actually coming from the Play Store, which is really cool. Again, so from here, you can just keep adding more testers. Okay, and I can open it. And boom, this is how it looks. Awesome, pretty nice and pretty fast. I'm super excited. As you can see, navigation works fine. The presentation modal only works for iOS, by the way, but everything looks amazing. And that's it, guys. We've successfully built and deployed our personal developer portfolio app using Bolt.new and Expo without a single line of code. We cover everything from creating the app, deploying it to Android, iOS, and the web using EAS. Now you have a fully functional cross-platform portfolio ready to showcase your work. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Also, make sure to check the description in this video for more resources about EAS and Expo. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.